Only 6 coaches and 4 athletes were in that training hall when it happened. No cameras, no media, no official record. Just witnesses to a moment that would quietly reshape how 2 of the world's greatest martial artists understood combat. The young fighter from Hong Kong arrived with confidence and questions. The reigning champion from Beijing stood with discipline and silence. What unfolded in those 3 minutes became a story told in whispers for decades. Beijing, China. State Wushu Training Center, Private Training Hall. August 14, 1984. Wednesday afternoon, 4:20. The air inside is thick and still, just industrial fans pushing hot summer air in slow circles. The training center sits in a restricted compound, accessible only to elite national athletes. This is where China builds its champions. The hall is sparse, polished wooden floors marked with wear from thousands of hours of training. White walls, 3 large windows letting in afternoon light. Everything here serves one purpose: the perfection of martial arts technique. 6 coaches sit along the southern wall, former champions now tasked with creating the next generation. Arms crossed, faces neutral, eyes alert. Next to them, 4 national team athletes sit cross-legged. China's current elite, who train 8 hours daily. This is a closed-door exchange, a cultural experiment arranged at the highest levels. The Hong Kong Wushu Association had requested to send one of their promising athletes to observe and train with Beijing's team. Hong Kong represents a different approach, more commercial, influenced by street fighting, less bound by the rigid traditions mainland China preserves. Standing near center is Donnie Yen. 21 years old, raised in Boston and Hong Kong, trained in multiple disciplines. He carries himself with the assurance of someone tested in full-contact competition. Taekwondo black belt, boxing experience, Wing Chun training, modern Wushu. He is 5'8", 165 pounds, with quick twitch explosiveness. His movements are fluid, but lack the precise geometry that defines mainland Wushu. Donnie arrived 3 days earlier with respect and skepticism. Respect for the technical mastery. Skepticism about whether perfection translated to fighting effectiveness. In Hong Kong, techniques were valued for applicability over aesthetics. He came genuinely curious whether classical systems could answer his questions. But the real tension centers on the figure standing at the opposite end. Jet Li, also 21, but carrying credentials that made him untouchable. 5-time national Wushu champion. Youngest gold medalist in all China Games history. His technical perfection was accepted as fact. Jet Li stands in neutral position, hands relaxed, weight centered. At 5'6" and 145 pounds, he appears smaller. But everyone knows what those dimensions conceal. Selected at age 8 for his supernatural ability to absorb technique and execute with precision defying human limitation. Someone who could watch a technique once and replicate it perfectly. The contrast is more than physical. Donnie represents exploration, mixing styles, questioning tradition. Jet Li represents systematic perfection, preservation of classical technique, belief that effectiveness comes from complete mastery. 2 different philosophies standing 3 meters apart. The session had begun 2 hours earlier, with Donnie observing forms and drills. But during a water break, he approached Jet Li directly, and the atmosphere shifted. According to those present, Donnie's question carried implication. Your forms are perfect, museum perfect, but in real sparring, do they work? Coaches stiffened. This challenged the foundation of the Chinese system. Jet Li responded calmly. Forms teach principles, sparring tests them. Both are necessary. But Donnie pressed. I've trained full contact. Maybe we could try light sparring, just to understand each other's approach. Master Chen, the head coach, moved to intervene. But Jet Li raised his hand. If it helps you understand, I am happy to exchange. Master Chen saw the calm focus that characterized his performances and made a decision. He cleared the hall except essential staff and 4 athletes. What happened next would be private. They moved to center floor. Master Chen established parameters. Sanda rules, light contact, 3 minutes. Both nodded. Donnie removed his shirt. Jet Li remained in uniform. They faced each other. Several seconds. Neither moved. Donnie, in modified fighting stance, weight forward, hands up, bouncing. Aggressive, ready. Jet Li in classical position, weight centered, hands relaxed, no bouncing. Stillness that was complete readiness. Master Chen signaled. Donnie moved first, quick jab at Jet Li's face, fast, well-placed. Found only air. Jet Li moved at an angle. Minimal shift, taking his head exactly far enough offline. Economy of motion taken to unsettling degree. Donnie tried again. Jab, cross, low, kick. Nothing landed. Jet Li's upper body flowed around punches, and when the kick came, his weight shifted. Front leg lifting just enough the kick swept through empty space. No big movements, just precise adjustments making attacks miss by calculated margins. Witnesses noted Jet Li wasn't countering or blocking, simply not there when attacks arrived. He could see them developing, reading weight shifts and muscle tensions, result of thousands of hours of sensitivity training refined to levels most never achieve. 15 seconds in, Donnie increased pace, mixing levels, high punches to low kicks, creating openings. Technique clean, tempo accelerating. He fired a spinning back kick, signature technique, powerful strike that had ended tournament fights. That was when the moment occurred. 3 seconds revealing depth of understanding most spend lifetimes seeking. As Donnie rotated into the spinning back kick, Jet Li moved forward, not away, but toward it, into the space where the kick formed. Timing so precise he arrived at Donnie's pivot point, the standing leg supporting everything, exactly as the kick reached maximum extension. Jet Li's foot performed a sweeping technique, but not power or force. A touch, redirecting Donnie's supporting ankle at the exact moment, all weight and momentum committed to rotation. The effect was immediate. Donnie's kick simply stopped. Rotational energy dissipated. Supporting leg lost stability. He didn't fall, Jet Li's hand already at his back controlling descent, but balance was completely compromised. He found himself leaning forward, kick abandoned mid-execution, Jet Li beside him close enough to have struck vital points, but instead stepping back and resetting. The sequence took 3 seconds. Donnie stood breathing harder than he wanted, processing what happened. He had thrown a technique that worked against larger, stronger opponents, yet it was neutralized not through force or counter, but understanding, recognition of where technique drew power and removal of that foundation at the precise moment it mattered. Jet Li stood 3 meters away, breathing unchanged, expression neutral but not cold. Not celebrating, not displaying superiority. Waiting, respectful, allowing time to understand. Coaches sat motionless. Athletes stopped breathing, caught in witnessing something significant. Donnie straightened, looked at Jet Li with new eyes, frustration transforming into recognition, respect, curiosity. He stepped forward, hands lowered. You didn't counter or block. You removed the platform the technique needed. How did you know exactly when? Jet Li's response was quiet. Wushu is not about beating opponents. It is about understanding motion, balance, physics. Every technique requires conditions, proper distance, timing, support. Change any at the right moment, the technique cannot function. You are strong, skilled, but maybe there is more to learn than winning. No arrogance, no condescension. Observation, philosophy, invitation to think differently. Donnie nodded slowly, genuine understanding. He came to test whether classical forms could answer questions his training raised. in 3 seconds, received an answer more profound than anticipated. Master Chen stood, signaling completion. But Donnie bowed formally to Jet Li, student recognizing teacher. Can I stay longer? Train here, learn this, understand what I experienced? Jet Li looked to Master Chen, deferring to authority. Master Chen studied Donnie, seeing genuine humility, real desire to learn over proving himself. He nodded. You may stay, 3 months. Train with the team, follow our schedule, learn our methods. But start as beginner, even with your experience. Donnie agreed without hesitation. According to those there, he kept his word. 3 months training alongside China's team, learning classical forms, drilling basics, discovering perfection and effectiveness were complementary. He and Jet Li developed relationship based on mutual respect, not competition. Years later, after Donnie Yen became one of Hong Kong cinema's most respected action stars, after Ip Man made him a household name, he was asked who influenced his combat approach most. His answer was careful but unmistakable. Many shaped my understanding, teachers and partners. But one moment in Beijing, 1984, someone showed me winning a fight is not the same as understanding one. That lesson changed everything. He never mentioned Jet Li by name, respecting the private exchange. But those who knew recognized the reference. 6 coaches, 4 athletes, 2 martial artists, 3 seconds demonstrating what decades of training could produce. Not dominance, but understanding so deep it appeared effortless. Jet Li never spoke publicly about it. In rare interviews, he maintained the same philosophy demonstrated that day. Martial arts is not about proving superiority. It is about understanding yourself, movement, principles governing combat regardless of style. That understanding cannot be won or lost in sparring, only cultivated through patient practice. Official records show nothing of that August afternoon. No video, no photographs, no documentation. Just memories of 10 witnesses and a story circulating quietly through martial arts communities for decades. 2 young men, supremely talented, representing different approaches, met in a private hall and discovered the highest level is not defeating opponents, but understanding principles, making techniques work or fail. Sometimes understanding reveals itself not in victory or defeat, but in a 3-second exchange where one person removes technique's foundation so precisely, so respectfully, the lesson lasts a lifetime.